pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Making sure all members are present. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Second.
Supervisor Groby, Supervisor Shea, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Second up is Jason Slack, Buildings and Grounds, and Kim Bogatz, HGM Inc. Discussion and decision to approve change order number 5. Jason, Kim?
This is the change order to amend the overall cost of the contract for the courthouse renovation project. There's really no decision to be made with it.
So are we done with the contractor then?
They're still here working on punch list items right now.
But there's no more bills?
There should be no more change orders.
I'll make a motion to approve.
You're in open session, just remember, and we recorded you saying that.
What about?
No more change orders.
Right, but the
It's a joke.
the contract is over with, right?
Yep.
Well, you haven't signed off on it yet, so
No.
once these punch list items are done, then you'll review those and then you'll do the
Exactly.
final.
We still have a retainage.
Okay. And we're still operating under a temporary CO then?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion?
Jason, when will we get permanent CO?
Should be happening within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, next up is Jason Slack, Buildings and Grounds, and Kim Bogatz from HGM, associate appearing before the board. Am I got that right, Kim? To open bids for the courthouse addition project. Okay, so we got several bids, it looks like. I don't know how many you got there.
Looks like 7.
7, is there anyone else that's got a bid, or is that it? 7 of them? Okay.
First one is Prairie Construction.
What's that? Everybody turn the bids in, right? Good.
Bid bonds included. Six addendas.
Pardon?
Okay, 6 addendas are acknowledged. That bid alternative. Lump sum, base bid, $6,014,000, 6014000.
6, 4.
6014.
$6,014,000.
Yep.
Okay. Even?
Yes.
Okay.
Unit prices, for the auger cast grout piles, $1,400 per pile. Unit price for each additional pile depth below that detailed, $24 per foot. Alternate number 1, $51,000. Alternate number 2, $15,000.
Number of days.
Oh, 548 calendar days.
548?
Yes. Next bid is,
Well, calendar day is just not Monday through Friday, right? It's calendar days.
That's correct.
So it's,
There's business days, it's Monday through Friday, and then calendar days is the full week.
right.
Yeah.
next bid is D.R. Anderson. Bid bonds included. Addendas are acknowledged. Total lump sum base bid, $6,436,000. 6436000. Unit prices for auger cast grout piles, $2,000 per pile. Unit price for each additional foot of pile depth below that detailed, $15 per foot. Alternate number 1, $72,000. Alternate number 2, $11,000. 600 calendar days. Lund Ross. Bid bonds included. Addendas are acknowledged. Total lump sum base bid, $5,869,000. 5869000. Unit price for each additional auger cast grout pile beyond that detailed, $1,000 per pile. Unit price for each additional foot of pile depth below that detailed, $18.50. Alternate number 1, $70,380. Alternate number 2, $11,510. $585 calendar days. Construct Inc. Bid bonds included. All 6 addendas are acknowledged. Lump sum base bid, $5,420,000. 5420000. Unit prices for each additional auger cast grout pile beyond that detailed, $950 per pile. Each additional foot is $16. Alternate number 1, $63,000. Alternate number 2, $15,000. $540 calendar days. AOI Construct. Bid bonds included. All 6 addendas are acknowledged. Total lump sum base bid, $6,420,000. $6,227,662. 6,227,662. Unit prices, additional auger, $1,315 per pile. Unit price, $27.59 if for piles length in excess of base bid quantities, and deduct $7.25 if for piles lengths less than base bid quantities. Alternate number 1, $76,943. Alternate number 2, $10,961. 364 calendar days. Miko Henny. Bid bonds included. All 6 addenda are acknowledged. Total lump sum base bid, $5,525,000. 5525000. Additional auger cast grout pile, $1,000 per pile. Additional foot, $18. Alternate number 1, $69,000. Alternate number 2, $15,000. 520 calendar days. Last bid is Ronco Construction. Bid bond is included. All 6 addenda have been acknowledged. Total lump sum base bid, $5,796,000. 5796000. Additional auger cast grout pile, $3,000 per pile. Each additional foot, $100 per foot. Alternate number 1, $63,000. Alternate number 2, $15,000. 420 calendar days. And that's all of them.
So Kim, you'll take these bids, review them, come back to the board, make a recommendation based on the alternate, if there's any more pilings required, calendar days. I do have one question for you though. It says alternate 1, delete snow melt. What's up with that?
That's snow melt for the, built into the steps in the front of the courthouse that we were wanting to do, to help melt ice and snow on the steps in the front of the building.
Is it a heated system?
Yes.
Yep, it's just like an in-floor radiant heat system, so.
When do you expect to have those reviewed and come back to the board?
I will look at them first thing, as soon as I get back to the office and start making phone calls, make sure everybody feels comfortable with what they submitted. So probably within a day or so.
For next Tuesday or the following Tuesday?
Sure, and by next Tuesday for sure.
What was the estimate that you came up with?
6-1.
Okay, any other questions? So, these, alternates 1 and 2 would be the subtraction, is that what
Yes.
That's correct.
would be happen there? And then, is there a certain amount of piles that we know that have to be?
Yeah, we have piling included in our design.
Okay.
So it's just, once they start opening up the ground, this was just in case. So,
That, you got the ones that are already known, and this would be for any additional ones in that regards.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll probably have an answer in next week, do we think?
Yes, yep.
Does that clean them out?
Square footage, you know?
Very Christian, 6,014,000. Very. Construct, do the
VA building, didn't they?
VA
building?
Didn't they?
I think so.
Contract did VA building it.
Okay.
Windows still leak too.
Are they? They still leaking?
Said our windows still leak over there too.
Do they still leak? Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody's got that. We got leave off treasurer, discussion and or decision to approve tax suspension pursuant to Iowa Code Section 427.9 for property located at 130 Wallace Avenue, Council Bluffs, Iowa.
I feel offended everybody left, they didn't want to hear mine. I feel offended everybody left, they didn't want to hear mine. So.
They went to get their checkbooks.
Oh. So this is a new construction that was July 7th of 20. I don't have any homestead credits, I don't have any elderly credit, and she's only been paying like $460 a year, which is on the lot. So I'm confused. I mean, I'm sure she got her new assessment that scared her, and her mortgage company has been paying this, so I don't know, and she's not here to ask questions, so.
They moved in 2020,
7/7 of 20 it shows, and it's a new construction home.
so are we 18 months behind on that?
Right. So she'll get billed this year, but I don't have any credits that she's applied for on her property, so that would be one that she would need to do. And I don't know what her tax is gonna be until they, come out, so. And it's like assessed at, or taxable value is 90,000.
90?
That's what it says for the 2020 year.
You haven't spoken to this person?
Pardon me?
You haven't spoken to this person?
Nobody called me. Andrew just sent me all this. I didn't talk to anybody.
Are these townhomes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And why are they wanting tax suspension?
They have, through the DHS, the Medicaid, the Medicare
4/1/21.
eligible.
This building.
But I don't have any credits or anything that's been applied for that would help.
Okay, so what, would we or you send her a letter or something, or what would be? what
That
would-
she would need to apply for the credits, which would be, something, and then it would go, the one on our end, on the elderly would go off her, income for the year, so, I don't know. And there was only one owner on the property.
Okay.
So, okay.
But,
Just so
her
I'm clear.
mortgage companies,
Andrew put this on the agenda, you haven't spoken to this individual. I don't personally feel comfortable voting on this at all until we get the whole
I don't know
story.
nothing about it, really.
Because there might be some
they
details we
usually
don't
go
know.
in there, get assistance through DHS, then they'll come to the board and ask if, they can get their property taxes suspended.
Yeah,
they didn't get that
letter though?
But no, really, no taxes have been paid on it, so I didn't know.
We just push this off a week and then talk to,
Find a little
get a
more.
hold of this person and make sure that we understand the whole big picture here.
And I'm sure it's about the assessment that she just got, but that won't go in for 2 more years, the new assessment. But I'm sure she'll have taxes on in September, because she was just paying on a lot to begin with.
Well,
I think that,
did she pay on the lot, or was the lot?
That's what she was paying on.
Right, for the 460 is all she was paying for, was the lot. And then now I'm sure the construction is there.
Right.
I think that, I don't know the exact process, who's required, or even if they're required, to provide the mortgage holder the information that if they're eligible for a tax suspension and they live 20 years, the bill on that, when it comes due, I mean, that'll be the responsibility of the mortgage holder.
Yeah, like I said, no one seems to have any information on this, so I don't wanna vote on something we don't know yet.
This is a little unusual compared to the ones we've had in the
Right,
past.
usually there are already assessed taxes
Right,
on, and they've been
straightforward, so.
paying, through the years, but then all of a sudden they have an issue or something.
And usually the person is here.
Uh-huh, yes,
Does that person know that they were supposed to be here today? I mean,
I don't know.
Diane O'Neill,
Mm-hmm.
she's not here.
ask a question.
Is the phone line
Do
on?
we need a motion to table?
Is the phone
Just
line
ask
on?
a question real quick. Andrew, did
Yeah.
this person call us? Is Diane Wallace or?
I think this was.
Diane O'Neill.
Okay, no worries.
Andrew wasn't, he just knew about these.
We need a
So
motion to table.
she had no idea that she was supposed to be here today.
Okay.
I just motion to table it.
Okay.
I'll
One
second
week,
it.
we'll get a hold of her, get to the bottom of it. and If she has ducks in a row, then we'll deny it.
Then we have, we have up on here the case worker and stuff too, so may have to reach out to them too. Okay, we got a motion and a second table. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay.
So
Maria's,
you're going to get a hold of her, or
Yeah, I'll have
Andrew's gonna
Andrew
get a hold of her, or
Yep.
let me know what's going on?
We'll have Andrew call and
Okay,
let her know she needs to come here and bring all the information that she needs to bring, and we'll just basically revisit it next week.
I'll go talk to Andrew about it.
yeah, and this notice came to us, right? It didn't come to
She
you?
called or something to Andrew, and then I said to Andrew, what she needs documentation as far as the DHS and everything, so she must have sent him the documentation.
Oh, okay,
Then I said, well, you better let me know what's going on, so then he let me.
okay. Normally, does it come to you, the paperwork? Or does it
It has
always?
to go to you because they want their taxes suspended, so it comes to
In the
you.
past, it always came to us and
Right.
then we,
And then you say to me that they want,
okay,
yes.
okay, thank you.
Yep,
What do they do, go to the city also?
No, we're the one that
Decides.
decides. But the thing is that it comes, off the house, such as Tim was saying. I mean,
So it's basically like a lien, when they go to
Yeah.
sell it, then we get our money.
it's gonna show that. Okay, Maria Seek, Public Health Administrator, Tracy, I'm gonna probably not,
Nose cable.
Nose cable?
Yep.
Right, just like it sounds. Environmental Health Coordinator, discussion or decision to appoint Tracy Nose Cable as County Weed Commissioner.
To move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Wickman, second by Supervisor Schultz. Any discussion? Was he not our weed commissioner last year?
You have to do the thing anyway.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, any other discussion?
Do they act upon complaints? Is that how they're acted upon?
Correct.
Okay.
That's all I got.
You got a weed complaint?
No, I don't.
Not yet?
Just wondered.
Okay.
But sometimes you go by them and, wow.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Scott will make a motion to approve and sign resolution 29-2021, a resolution for the destruction of noxious weeds.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Wickman, second by Supervisor Shea. Sign board resolution number 2921. Discussion?
Tracy, are you seeing anything out there yet?
We haven't had anything, so far. And then, like, some of our, changing subject a little bit, but like last year, some of our problem, properties were also already, been in contact with them. Like, 440th Street, we had the Haas property a couple years ago. Last year, someone's, in the process, buying it on a land contract, and they've been keeping up on it. And then, this year, I've already been in contact with them. And looking weed wise though, we haven't had anything and hadn't seen anything at least from the noxious weeds.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, roll call?
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Aye.
Supervisor Groby,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz,
Aye.
and Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Okay, Matt Wyatt, Planning and Zoning Director, and/or Pam Calstrip, Acting Director. Discussion and/or decision to approve MAPPA to move forward with RFPs for legal services, abstracting services, and asbestos survey services associated with the HMGPDR-4421.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Schultz,
I'll second
second by Supervisor Shea. Okay, discussion?
I wanted to make sure that the board had these ahead of publication so that you can see where we're at on as far as where the process is at. This morning I was able to email out to you kind of the mailing list of who they will be sending each one of these out directly to, and then they'll also get published in the local papers as well. So,
Do these services require an attorney firm to handle them?
I can't speak directly to the requirement of it. Last time in 2011, we did utilize Deb Peterson to do all that work. But I could find out from, was it Terry Brown up at the state if it's a actual requirement.
I can respond to that, Matt, if you want.
Okay, Danya, go ahead.
Well, as far as the abstracting firm, which probably isn't your specific question, but the state does require us to update abstracts or create new abstracts if they're destroyed, and also to get title insurance through the Iowa Title Guarantee. So as It's my understanding that the same firm that issues the title insurance, Iowa Title Guarantee, has specific plans by county that are authorized. And I've got to do some further research, but I do think you only have one plan here. So it could be that we don't get proposals for abstracts, but we want to go ahead and advertise it and then let the state allow us to do so, if that's what we're gonna do.
Does it require a law firm to
Handle the negotiations with the landowners for acquisition?
No, the acquisition price will be set by appraisal. There will be an offer made based upon that appraisal. If a property owner wants to appeal that value, they can. They would have to themselves commission and pay for a subsequent appraisal by a firm that the county would approve of. Now, we would probably recommend to you that you would have 2 or 3 people review that appeal when it occurs, if it occurs, to make a recommendation to the board to approve. Now, to your question, as far as do you need an attorney to the closing? Yes and no. You know, in order to do the title guarantee, there does need to be somebody to draft an opinion to provide to title guarantee. And to my understanding, that requires an attorney to do so.
Iowa Title Guarantee, the one that's, the company that's noted in the RFP, they're the firm that provides the title insurance on each one of these?
Iowa Title Guarantee does, yes.
Not an abstract, title insurance.
You have to do both. It's double protection. This is the way they run their program.
Well, I mean, we did the same thing in 11, I believe. Except for did we go out for bid and then didn't get anybody to bid on it? Is that what the?
Correct, it went out for bids, we did not get anybody to bid on it, and so then that left, the previous director Kay to call directly to, some of just the more well-known property attorneys that we deal with in our office, usually on a daily basis, and try to commission somebody in to do it. And that was when we did, Kay was able to talk in Deb Peterson and her firm into handling those closings for us.
And we did like, what, about 18 of them then?
No, I think we're more up around the 40 number.
Was it 38?
Yeah, it's like 38.
Yeah, okay. Okay, any other discussions on that? Good. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Discussion or decision to approve and sign resolution number 33-2021 entitled Adoption of the Administrative Plan for Voluntary Property Acquisition Funded under the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, HMGP DR-4421-IA-0048.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Schultz. And second by Supervisor Shea. Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, any discussion from you on that?
There's a requirement for the grant process. We have to submit it into them, the administrative plan, and MAPPA did prepare this administrative plan for us to be able to submit it for the grant process.
Okay. So, roll call?
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Groby,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz,
Aye.
and Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Discussion and or decision to approve and sign amended development agreement with Armstrong Investment LLC, authorizing tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. Schultz, seconded by Shea. Any discussion?
1 second. Matt, does it have the $200,000 repayment in this agreement? Or is it just specifically the 540 for us? I'm not seeing the 200. Pam, do you have an answer to that?
It's in there. Let me find it.
Oh, never mind, I found it.
See it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What page is it on?
It is section 8.2. So my question for you, Matt, or Pam, on that is, it says that the Potawatomi County agrees to make 10 annual payments to the developer during the term. So that's $20,000 a year. Where's that money coming from?
Well, like we discussed last week, the county will get paid first for the roads, and then anything thereafter would go to pay the water line.
So when you go down to section C, right below that, in 8.2, amount of payments, that then describes out the amount of each payment shall not exceed the amount of remaining development property TIF, such amount excluding allocations of backfill or makeup payments from the state of Iowa, property tax credits, rollbacks, and actually received by the county from Potawatomi County Treasurer under the terms of the ordinance.
So this is a 10-year TIF, right, Matt? Or Pam?
Yes.
Okay. So if the development doesn't happen, or the taxes, or the assessed value doesn't make it cover that $20,000, because we're gonna get paid back first, right?
Correct.
What happens after 10 years?
In the industrial park, you can extend that per the attorneys.
Speak up a little, Pam.
She's saying that there's you can
You
extend
can
it.
extend the
Okay.
TIF.
We can go all the way to 20 years with this TIF.
If we're
At that
paid,
point, you gotta read.
if we're paid back in 10 and he isn't, how's that gonna fly?
Then we would ask for an extension of the TIF.
Matt, is that pretty standard on any TIF agreement?
The extensions of them, I think they extend them all the time.
Yeah, I think is the max 20 or is it max 25?
The max on this will be 25. We could have just gone with just it's an industrial area, so you could go with a 20-year TIF. I don't even imagine, with the amount of TIF that we're working with here, this is obviously not much, and the amount of development that has been shown to be wanting to be in that area. The whole goal of it would be is that this TIF's done even before 10 years, and then we can just be done with it, because the joint agreement that we have with the city and everybody else really limits everything that happens with it.
Well, the base value, was it just ag, pretty much?
It was zoned industrial, and there was
Okay.
the one structure already there. I
One
think,
structure is mostly bare ground.
Right.
yes,
It's got a pretty good low value or base value, I guess.
I think if I remember correctly, the taxes a couple years ago were 20,000 on the entire property.
Okay. Any other questions on, Jason's seen these documents, I assume, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other,
Well, you know, the only concern I have is that it says that the county agrees to make those payments. And it says payments will be made on or before June 1st of each fiscal year, commencing June 1 of the fiscal year, immediately succeeding the fiscal year in which the triggering certificate is made. So my only concern on that is that it says the county is going to make those payments. If the value isn't there, are we still gonna be required to make those?
No, that's what section C outlines for us.
I don't understand that, Matt.
never shall not exceed.
You're talking about the makeup payments that the developer will make if the value isn't there?
No, the developer will, that's part, their part of it is that they have to cover the shortfall of it, right? If we don't have if the development doesn't come and the payment is still due on the TIF, then the developer has to cover that payment. But if there is no, so if there, and that's to us. So, but we're not gonna, you don't take a payment, we're not gonna take a payment from him and then turn around and kick a portion of that payment back to him. So that's why if the money is not there, the county gets paid back first. If the money's not there, the remaining portion of that TIF, 75% of it's going to that loan, 25% of it is gonna go to pay him back.
Okay.
Now, this was written up by a bond attorney?
This was written up by,
Dorsey and Whitney.
yes,
Yeah, okay. We went through that stuff out at the little city of Crescent too. That was a sticking point, but there's wording that had to be in there, it sounded like.
we've tried to cover our risk as best we can with this process, but I mean, there's always gonna be some portion of risk that falls back on us, but I believe that the way that this is worded, and I believe in what, the attorneys up there at Dorsey told us, and that if we're not gonna get paid back, he's not gonna get paid back if we're not getting the development for it.
I'd make a motion to,
I wish I had,
okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
you know, it says that the county agrees to make 10 annual payments totaling 200,000, that's 20 grand a year that we're agreeing to make to the developer. And I just feel uncomfortable. I wish they were on the phone where they could answer my question. But if the assessed value isn't there and the developer has to kick in some of its own money to make our payment, do we give him 20,000 a year?
No,
Well, it doesn't say that in here, man. So I just wish I had some clarification on it. Is this time sensitive?
but I think that clarification comes to you in section C. That is the amount of each payment shall not exceed the amount remaining development TIF, property TIF. So if there's no money there, you can't exceed it.
The 200 was for the water line, right?
And they'll have to submit for that too, right? You're not just gonna get $200,000 for a water line. They have to submit to the cost and provide all the receipts in there
Right.
to show this is what they spent on the water line, which I believe
200 was a maximum in the agreement.
yeah, it was 180,000, I think is what the original proposal was on that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
On page 9, it talks about the shortfall payments, page 9 and 10. If that provides any clarification. And we already had adopted the original development agreement. So there was just a few changes to it.
So it's on page 10, that section section A, it describes the intent of this provision is to ensure if, for any reason, the development property TIF is not sufficient to make the county's annual debt service payments on the county internal advance, the developer shall make the shortfall payment to the county so the county can make all debt service payments on the county bonds when due.
So does that shortfall payment then take the county's responsibility of giving him $20,000 a year for 10 years away? We're agreeing to give him $20,000 a year.
I still contend that that's laid out in section C, where it says the amount of the payment's not gonna exceed the remaining development TIF. So if there's nothing there, it's a shortfall year, there's nothing there remaining after the county's been paid back, he's not receiving any of those funds. So if that $54,000 comes in and there's no more left, it all went to the county, then there's nothing there to give him that year for the reimbursement.
Matt, what do you think?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm good answer.
You want us to schedule a separate meeting with the Dorsey attorneys for you to review?
Is this time sensitive?
Well, that's one of the components that we just want to stay on track with, making sure that we have these pieces done, because they're they're getting ready to go on the road, so.
I think the contractor is asking for partial payment, right, John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're working out there. On his lots, it looks like.
I mean, we have the development agreement in place with him right now. This is an amended version of it for him, so.
Can we get Dorsey with me on the phone?
We can set it up for next Tuesday, if you all want to review it with them.
I'm comfortable with the way it is.
Okay.
Any other? I just wish that was clarified, because it says right in there, the county agrees to give him $20,000 a year for 10 years.
If we got it.
Well, we can always fight them. I mean, if we get down to that point where this actually, this hypothetical were to pan out that way, then we'll fight them on it. And say, look, section C says that we get paid back first, there's no money, you're not getting anything. I'm kind of leaning more with Matt on this, that, there's so much, I think this is gonna be done and over with, and those buildings will be filled up quickly, and we're gonna be on to the next project, and we'll get paid back.
Section 4.5A, that last sentence. The intent of this provision is to ensure if for any reason the development property TIF is not sufficient to make the county's annual debt service payment on the county internal advance, the developer shall promptly make a shortfall payment to the county so that the county can make all debt service payments on the county bonds when issued. or when due.
Okay,
So you're saying you're in
you
agreement?
wanna
Yeah.
vote on it?
We went through this before in Crescent, the same paragraph. And we called Dorsey Whitney, and he explained it. And some of this stuff is state mandated to be put in here.
I don't wanna like discount your concern, Tim, at all. I just think that we can hedge our bet on this, and if it comes down to that, then we'll fight it, you know?
Okay,
It is what it is.
discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Wait a minute, this is a resolution.
No.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Carried. Motion passes. Discussion and decision on proposed route for water line extension in Pock County. I think most of you got the latest.
Yeah.
So I went back to Rural Water, and their engineering firm and asked them to provide us a cost estimate to, at the county line, switch it over and run up 240th Street. And so they provided us another breakdown. I then combined the breakdowns and sent them back out to you so you could kind of see the price difference on there. It looks as though we'd be just under $200,000 to make that move over to 240th Street at the county line and extend up, that's to the extension up to Pioneer Trail. Then continuing on to Greenview Road, the original proposal for them extending up to Greenview Road, they were at $2,250,621. By shifting it over to 240th Street there, we're at $2,345,627. And so I'm really just looking for the direction of the board to figure out which route is it that everybody's, what direction do you want me to go in? Do you want me to allow rural water to run up Woodland Trail, cut over to Pioneer Trail, and then up to 240th Street? Or are we stuck on, do we really want it shifted over to 240th Street at the county line and up? Because this, the amount of the funds is what's really gonna affect how we write all these upcoming agreements that we will have.
Matt, the original one that went, I'm gonna call it the Woodland Trail route, was about 1.3 million, right?
Correct.
1286, yeah.
To go up 240th Street, it's about 1.45, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then the board needs to, and you, with some, a recommendation from you, where, if we change that route to 240th, is there more development property available that way versus going the Woodland Trail route?
So having the water line there, once the water line is within that proximity, it's not necessarily gonna matter which road you run up, whether you run up Woodland Trail or you run up 240th Street. Now, there is some benefit to where if you run up Woodland Trail, you do have the older housing subdivisions up there that at some point in time, they're gonna need water, whether they want it or not. Because the state code is not getting any nicer on septic systems. They're on very small lots. It's kind of the same position that we look at Hilltop, Wildwood, those areas that are out there now. These small communities out there are gonna be in that same position because they don't have water and they're on a well. And so you have that little added benefit to it. And you also have already an infrastructure investment in Woodland Trail, to where there's that extension of Woodland Trail that is pavement out so far, to where it could be a decision of the board at some point in time to say, hey, let's go ahead and extend that hard surface road down a little bit further, because we have other hard surface roads in the area. You kind of have two benefits there. The other side of it is that if you want to run it over to 240th Street, you're going to upgrade that road. So there's a potential that, they could coincide the timelines. I don't know whether or not that would slow either one of them down. I think, that'd be something John could kind of speak to on that part of it. But they could run it up 240th Street. I don't think they necessarily care which direction they run it up. They know they're gonna get more customers either way, so.
Matt, what's the potential amount of homes on Woodland Trail?
I'll pull it up for you real quick.
How many customers? Oh, you were looking.
No, yeah, I can tell you how many houses are in that. I can't remember how many, it's like 30 or something, but
Is that also including that development off to the north? I can't remember the name of that one.
which, you talking about?
You talking about the older development or the new one?
The newer one.
The new one for Heartland that'll be 88 homes there. And then you're looking at a potential of somewhere around 100 homes for, if the Hughes ones takes off as well.
Is there an advantage to running it up 240th as we're going to upgrade that road? Water can go in the right of way instead of across somebody's property?
They don't wanna be in the right of way.
That would be my only concern is that I don't know that rural water wants to be in the right of way because then they have to jockey around the other utilities that are already in that area. And from what they said, they prefer to be out in a field and just, that way they can run wide open and not have to worry a whole lot about what they're gonna hit.
The cost they provided us on both of these options, does that include their cost to get an easement across those properties?
Yeah, I believe that was included in the breakdown, in the breakouts.
Hmm.
There was,
Yeah, it's got right of way.
Yeah.
Under other costs.
under other costs, and that entitles engineering, admin, right of way, et cetera.
Mine here and it doesn't show it.
And that's, so that's 25% of the project costs, they figured for that. So the original option for running up Woodland Trail, that admin, engineering, right-of-way cost is $251,000 for there. If we go with option 2, running up 240th Street, then it's $248,000. Is what they have figured in.
I mean, just having talked to the
And I'm not seeing that.
Did you get the Excel sheet with my breakout?
Yeah, but it didn't look like it came through on there.
Go down a little bit.
You said 248,000? Or you mean 284?
That's what you're looking at.
I got two of them here.
So it's under,
Dude, I got two of them
yeah. Under total estimated construction costs, first row, other costs.
284. 240th Street round. 251 on the Woodland Trail. Do we have other costs on the Woodland Trail route to upgrade some of those other existing roads?
What do you mean by that?
Didn't that water line go up and around?
It went up Dumfries, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But it doesn't go in on
It's
the
not
road.
affecting any of the road.
So we wouldn't upgrade that road?
No, so like, I'll just give you, paint you a little better picture, kind of based on the questions you said. I have talked to a couple of developers and I have,
First off, let me make myself real clear. I don't really care which route we take.
Yeah.
I really don't.
no,
I want to take the route that provides us the best opportunity for growth. That's the route I want.
Yep, so based on the conversations I had with some developers and some of the landowners that live out there, I think going up Woodland Trail is our best option. That'll give us the best opportunities to potentially hook up Woodland Acres. If they need to somehow get more houses hooked up, there's a neighborhood right there that's within, what, a quarter mile of where this water line is gonna turn to go over towards where these new additions will be. It also, along that route, there is a piece of property that's sold with the Brandt auction that is very developable land that we could potentially.
Still using that.
Using that water line, yep. Now, if we went on 240th Street, it doesn't necessarily eliminate the capability. It just, the issue there is there are landowners in between some of the land that would be considered developable that we don't know if they're willing to sell or not. They haven't even been approached about it. And they've been long-term farms that have been there a long time. So I don't know that that's gonna be an easy sell for these developers. So if we go up Woodland Trail, I don't wanna say it's guaranteed, but there's high likelihood that there's a chunk of ground that is just as big as the Heartland addition, that could be developed. And it's in between Woodland, in between Woodland and 240th Street. So even if water ended up having to go further east, you're still basically, you're just cutting across the section line to get over there or whatever. So it's not, I don't think it's limiting us any, just to leave it as designed originally. It's cheaper. And if we're gonna spend that kind of money, it might give us opportunity to maybe seal coat Dumfries or something, just to kind of ease some of the traffic patterns up there. But Woodland Trail, what Matt was speaking to, is that it ends, basically turns into gravel. There's about, I don't know, not even a quarter, it's probably like a 1/10 of a mile, and all of a sudden there's seal coat because the neighbors there paid for it for dust control, and then it goes back to gravel again. The idea there would be we just take that pavement and extend that all the way down just past Dumfries, and now you've connected that whole piece of ground I'm talking about. So you're talking maybe a 1/2 a mile pavement addition to make that development if that were to come down the road. But being able to hook up Woodland Trail just gives us that other option. I mean, and like the rural water guy said, that if we got to capacity with water, we just build another water tower up there and we can open it up again. So I think it's cheaper to go this route, and you're getting the same benefit out of it.
Well, I think, the rural water is thinking this same as what you guys are thinking. Well, the best opportunity for them to make money is the reason they came up with the Woodland Trail route. I think,
You got Woodland Trail, like you got Woodland Acres, and then you got Woodland Trail that goes all around that curve. There's another probably 30, 40 homes up and down Woodland Trail even that eventually could be connected up to this thing, so.
So who makes the decision on the 10-inch or the 8-inch line?
They
make the decision.
They do, but they said they were just gonna go with the 8 and then we do another water tower if we needed to get higher capacity, which.
Where is their
Talked
water
to both
now?
developers already, and they both said they'd be willing to figure that out on the property they already own, so.
They were going to come from,
South.
just east of Mineola there.
Lake Ohana is where they're gonna run up from.
Either way,
They basically stair step, they go up Lake Ohana and then stair step over, it gets onto, I think, Barris Road or something like that. And then it shoots straight up onto Woodland. In Woodland, if you look at the map out there, like Woodland Trail actually curves back to Wabash Ave, or what used to be old 275 there.
right,
So, that's also opportunity, long term probably, but I mean, down the road, you got water right on that side of it. There's more ground there that could be likely to be developed in homes and things like that once those farmers if they stop farming or sell or whatever. I mean, you never really want to get rid of farms, but I mean, it happened with Brant's. I mean, they sold everything they had.
well, the Woodland Trails route sounds a better deal for everybody, doesn't it?
I personally think so, yes.
Versus 240th Street.
So, I mean, you got.
There's already infrastructure investment there, it's just a continuation.
Where's the Barros Road?
So the Woodland Trail route still ends up, at the intersection of, what is that? Is it Pioneer Trail and 240th? Is that where it ends up at?
Correct.
Right?
Not sure what more just
And then would
county
go
line.
north
okay.
to Greenview.
I think the
If we
Woodland
chose
Trail
to, yes.
So,
would be the way to
so
go.
is the number
Will be right
that
there.
they put here to extend to Greenview, is it the difference between the 1, 2 and the 2, 2?
Correct.
So if we're only gonna go from,
40th.
the Woodland Trail route, that's gonna, at this point, would end at the corner, basically, of, Pioneer Trail and
Trail
240,
looks good.
right?
Correct. And then if the county so chose, we could go another $1 million investment into it, and then that would take the project up to
Up to
Greenview.
Greenview. Say a phase 2 or whatever.
Correct.
But rural water could do that also if they decide to do it, right?
Yeah, they could find other financing, and do it on their own if they so chose to.
Provided we were paid back first, right?
No, if they chose to get other financing and continue on, they could.
We're gonna get, paid back from everything from, I don't know what the boundary would be in Mill for this line.
We're gonna get paid back everything from the connection at Lake Ohana all the way up through to wherever we stop at.
Okay,
So even if a development kicks off in Mills County and it connects to that water line, they're gonna have to pay the $3,500 connection fee that would come back to us to reimburse us on our side of it. We're setting it up to where there's gonna be some benches, since you had expressed a desire to make a $300,000 economic development kind of investment into this, but the attorneys just cautioned that if we do this, that we need to set some sort of benchmarking to it, like we need them at, this spot by this day so far, and then, we'd potentially forgive $100,000 of it, and I'm just throwing those numbers out there because nothing's concrete yet, but that's what they're looking at right now.
good.
Tim, can I say
So,
something? So, sorry.
the only reason I bring up 240 is when speaking with John, and I think John told us that, in his redevelopment of 240th Street, he could acquire a little more right-of-way and give the water line a specific area where they could place their water. Is that what you talked about, John?
Definitely want to know where they're going to be, I guess, if we're expanding right-of-ways in the future. If they run up Woodland and we have to buy right-of-way, I have to pay to relocate them. If I buy right-of-way, they're on private right-of-way, so want to be very careful where they go.
That's an issue too.
Okay, so this is the area we're talking about. Water line's gonna come up Woodland Trail. This is Dumfries. Here's Aspen. So,
Which those people are probably anxious for the water too,
it's part of that.
I would guess.
Well, the developers are.
On Woodland, I mean.
Yeah, it'll help some of them out, for sure, and
Cause there's that one spot when you first go up, it's over here, there's a lot of,
This guy.
There is.
pretty dense in there.
yeah, it would help them for the ones that wanna, be able to build a garage in their yard or something like that, not have to worry about where their next well's gonna go, or potentially reserving an area for their septic system, because those separation distances and the filtration units that they're having to go with they would out-cost what it would take to put water into their house
Yeah.
and get rid of the well.
This is gravel here.
Yeah, it goes from gravel to.
Which is pavement.
Here's my old house.
Right.
So here's where I used to live. Pavement stops right there. Right here.
John, you're not, or are you thinking you're gonna have to do,
I've been out there.
Woodland, acquire
Right before they
easements
say
on
Put it like this
Woodland
little chunk right
also?
I guess my concern is if you put water, then you have the development potential, but you can't do a major subdivision without paving, so you would still have to go back and pave that road, even though you have water to do a major subdivision, so.
But are they not typically far enough out of the road easement, or have you ran into them before where you had to relocate them?
I haven't on a county project, I haven't bought that much right away as the county, I've
Right.
done that in the DOT projects, relocate them.
And the DOT projects you have?
So you think Woodland Trail is gonna be more challenging for you?
If it was gonna be a seal coat, no, if it's gonna be a paved road, definitely.
I think the only pavement on Woodland will probably extend Woodland down just past Dumfries to hit that chunk of ground there. I mean, there's like one farm that sold as part of the Brant farm sale or whatever. That is probably the most potential for developing down the road. So you're talking paving from end of Woodland Trail down to that, you're not even a mile, it's like a half mile even.
Yeah.
It's probably a quarter mile realistically, so.
Isn't that a construction company there? I believe it is.
No, I don't know.
Guy's got some dump trucks and tractors.
Where are you talking?
That big old farm on the right.
Oh, no, that's Vicky Hospice, their horses.
Matt, if the board decides to take the, whatever route they decide to take, when is rural water ready to
I
go?
think maybe that's it, one of these two are it.
Might be.
How far are we from an agreement with rural water?
I don't think we're far at all. We just need to have clarification of
That far south.
which direction we're going. Because I believe I forwarded on an email to you that showed their,
Schedule.
kind of their proposed timeline.
Shit out of that road when it's soft.
I don't know. Wait, do we need a decision on this, or what do you?
Well, yeah, we.
I mean,
we need
personally, I
to
just
keep
think we
it-
move forward with Woodland Trail, get this
Yeah,
thing going.
I would agree. I
So it'd
think
be June to, they would start in June to December 2021, easement acquisition, June to October 21, pipeline design, November to December 2021, IDNR construction permitting, January 2022, project bid, April to August 2022, pipeline construction. September 21st would be the proposed substantial completion deadline for the pipeline project.
I guess I'm leaning towards the Woodland Trail.
So John, I'm leaning towards Woodland as well, but John, in yours, like, from your view here, you would need to make sure that we get the section from 240th to Aspen hardball. It needs to be to the level of construction, so that way Hughes can continue on doing what they need to do. So like, your timeline would be a little bit sooner than the water line would be for that road.
Just that segment from Pioneer
At
to
least,
Aspen.
at a minimum. I mean, that's at a minimum. Personally, if we're gonna do like 240th all the way to Greenview or whatever, then I would focus your efforts there first and then, go up. But that's priority as far as these developments go. Because that's the agreement when we had Hughes in here, we basically said, yeah, we're gonna do this for you. Now, I think we also need to consider, and this is another conversation for later, but I do think we need to consider seal coating Dumfries and Aspen Road, just at least seal coating it. But not necessarily, like, it
It's
doesn't
your
have to be.
favorite thing, isn't it?
If you got the money, I'll pave them all, I guess, but.
Well, it's just to get traffic moving out of there, and I think it'd be good for.
Right now, you're only looking at Aspen to Pioneer Trail for paving, right?
Yeah, just at least to get the development going, yeah.
we don't,
Because the part of their design had entryways off of that.
I don't think rural water wants to have to relocate either. You
No,
know.
that's typically where they're not on the right of ways, is they don't want to mess with the road expansion or anything else.
Right.
on Those new
So-
grades, but
So if they need to,
They'll come right up.
be a couple more feet one way or the other off the Woodland route, just for precautionary reasons, we just, I mean, I don't know when they buy an easement, how much they buy, or whatever, 8 foot, 12 foot, 15 foot, I'm not sure on their process on that, so. I think we just give you the nod. It appears there's 3 of us anyway that want to go ahead and go down the Woodland Route Trail until we are told something else. Have you made a choice whatsoever?
I guess I made my choice early when I told you I don't really care which way we go.
As long as we go.
I just want to go.
Go up Woodland, and if it doesn't work out, blame Schultz. That's fine. I think that's how you do it.
So Matt, one last question from me. The engineering administration right-of-way costs on the Woodland Trail project, if we go that way, which it sounds like we are, $251,000, do we need to front that?
This was my old place here.
Oh, is it?
That will be, yes. This entire amount is what we would be looking at financing for them.
But in order for them to move forward, we need an agreement with them. That talks about the $3,500 hookup fee, certain timeframe, right?
Correct.
It's not indefinite, is it?
So that, all of those details, Dorsey's working out right now, putting into an agreement. This decision today allows me to give them the number to say, plug this number into the agreement, And that way we can bring the agreement forth and get it approved by you all. Rural Water can get it approved by who they need to get it approved by, and we can move forward.
I'm good to go.
So quick question, so given the timeline they just gave you, are the developers gonna be able to start building that summer at least? And then just not hand over homes until they get water hooked up? I mean, how does that part work?
So we would have to work with them on, there's a couple potential solutions that they could do if water isn't there. They could potentially drill a well and supply a couple homes off of a well and, for a month or two until rural water gets there. I do kind of think, just speaking with the developers and what they have going on, that their timeline is also getting pushed a little bit just because of the amount of time it's gonna take to get some of that dirt out of there. So originally, they were all set up on kind of the spring of 2022, and it's both parties have been kind of going further out as it goes. And I think the last time I talked to the developers, they were looking at maybe August of 2022.
I'm just curious,
So-
it's not ideal to start building, when it's gonna start freezing, obviously, so.
It's not, but we do have situations in the county where there are homes supplied off of communal wells. So it wouldn't be unheard of to throw a temporary well in the ground
Just to keep it going.
just to get them in there and get them going, and then have water be there within a month or two, and put the meter pit out there and connect them all in.
That would be on the developer, correct?
It would be on the developers, yeah.
Yep, okay.
Hughes contacted me the other day, and they would like to move forward with doing as many splits as possible with the administrative sketch plat application, which would not be a subdivision. And I think they applied for some entrance permits perhaps. So those would have to be wells. So I think there's like 17 lots that Hughes would do outside of a major subdivision.
Would they have to hook on the waters there?
Matt
they
and I
will-
discussed that, so.
They will not have to hook on right when water comes by their place, but if their well does fail, then they will have to hook on at that point in time.
There'll be 2 acres or greater.
They're not a part of a subdivision. They're just a 2-acre.
Yeah, they can do like 2 lots per quarter administratively.
And they're scattered around the edge of the development in
Yeah, I know,
groups of
but
2.
well, that's fine, we just lose part of getting our loan paid back, obviously, or whatever from.
17 homes times 331, or 3,500.
The part that, so the practicality, what you're gonna run up against is if we were to write something and saying that, you can do these splits, but you're gonna have to connect it to water as it comes by, is you're gonna have a number of homeowners that this water is running by that do not have to connect to it. Because they have a well, they're already established, they're already going. And so, not being a part of the development does have a little bit of a benefit of, they're not gonna have to necessarily follow what's going on with the development.
Matt, I believe when they put new water in the city of Crescent, they allowed them to have a smaller hookup fee. So they'd allow them to hook up, an enticement for them to hook up at that point.
And Rural Water does the same thing, they go by and
Okay.
try to entice them with those kind of things.
Okay,
Well,
Okay.
17's not,
I just-
talking
yeah,
60
17,
grand, so.
yeah,
It's not gonna kill us, but I mean,
every little bit helps.
Does the water line even go by those properties?
It will.
yeah.
It will.
But the water line's also going by a bunch of them in Dumfries that may wanna hook on, we might pick those up, so. Probably double that number.
Okay.
Okay, so get a motion and,
I'll make a motion to go up, Woodland Trail for water line proposed.
say, any other discussion?
No, just, John, really need to make sure you're honed in on that 240th Aspen. I mean, that's gonna really slow Hughes down if we don't get that done, so.
We need to find the money for that then. Too.
What kind of distance is that?
It's
Quarter
a little
mile?
less than a mile, isn't it? Was it a half?
Not even, yeah, no, it's probably not even that.
We got the survey on that, I haven't got it back
Driven
yet.
it, I didn't see it.
It's like a quarter mile. It's the length of the development.
Oh.
I walked it this last hunting season, so it's not bad.
Not very far then, if you made it.
Exactly.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, John Raskin, County Engineer, discussion and/or decision to approve and sign final voucher FMCL 78, parent 202-55-78. Okay, John.
That's final voucher for the railroad highway paving we did last summer. Just got that cleaned up. Total dollar amount was $3,931,712.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Wickman, second by Supervisor Shea. Any other discussion? You said that was Railroad Avenue that was from basically Council Bluffs out to,
The interstate
880, right?
880, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Funding agreement for STP-swap-CO 78-204-FG 78.
That's the funding agreement to bring in the SWAP federal funds. We're bringing in $1,250,000 into that project to match with our farm to market monies to do the project on L66.
L66, you said?
Yes, this is the south portion.
Okay. Motion,
second.
Wickman, seconded by Shea. Any other discussion? You said the south leg of it?
Yes.
Is that from 6 south then? Or-
6 up to G30.
Okay, good. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Final design service agreement for the Roads Operations Center.
Yes, you guys asked me to bring back the design agreement to you for board approval on that, so that's in your packet.
So moved. I thought we were going to do the dirt, get the numbers for the dirt and tree stuff done, and then come back to this after we've completed the one in Hancock and such.
I guess I wasn't on board with that one. We're doing the tree removal now on that parcel.
What was the number on that?
It was 92,000,
How much?
92.
And then we're doing the dirt work
Was
after that?
Was that a bid then?
I took quotes on that.
The tree removal?
Yeah. Has to be done by May 7th. Pretty hasty on that one.
Okay, and then the dirt? Do we?
I don't have the site numbers until we get into the design. I guess we can phase the project, but I don't have, that's gonna be part of the design, just come up with a grading plan as well.
Okay,
I think we had some intermediate numbers on the
Road, right?
I didn't bring my estimate, I guess.
right. So, that's a set number, the contract? I mean, is that what I saw?
Is this the,
Or is that a not to exceed number?
Yes.
It's set.
Yeah.
Runs longer, fees may occur.
We didn't have the grading separated out, because we isn't doing them. Okay. We don't have final plans on that though.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, this is just to basically allow HGM to do the design for
The building and
Building
everything,
and everything.
correct?
The building,
It's for design, bidding, and
Speak
construction.
up, would you?
I'm sorry, it's for design, bidding, and construction phase services. It's everything.
John, did we do bid on this?
No, we
We're
didn't.
just rolling over to them? I feel uncomfortable with that. I've expressed that before, and I do feel uncomfortable with it.
On,
It's a lot of money not to bid out.
Right, in professional contracts, you don't bid low dollar, you bid qualifications based, I mean, even on federal stuff, so I don't know. Who
I
in
guess
the community you'd rather use?
I'll second Tim's motion so we can get into the discussion piece of this.
Okay.
My thoughts here are that, you know, we started down this road with HGM. I don't really feel the need to stop midpoint right now and switch it up. I do think there's value what Mr. Shea is saying about, you know, researching other opportunities down the road. I just think this one this is my opinion, I just think we've already started down this path and I want to continue on, you know.
When did we start down the road?
We've been in conversation with these guys for
I
over a year.
understand, but we just bought the land recently, didn't we?
Well, the conversations and some of the design work have been going on for over a year.
Okay,
Before you
but
got
didn't we just
here.
buy the land?
A quite a large number of meetings with staff, with the engineering team to develop the actual size of the building, the requirements, the office space, the training space, that kind of stuff. All of those conversations have already been had and led by HGM. So I'm with Justin on this. We are a long ways down the road on the design and the probably the majority of the specifications for the project. If we want to take a look at bidding services on the next project, don't have an issue with it. However, I do have an issue with jumping ship in the middle of the project.
I guess if we just acquired the land, I don't see us as being in, you know, that ship has sailed. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
Building
okay.
design and everything's already happened.
I don't know, I'm sitting here on the board and I guess I don't know nothing about it too much.
A lot of
I've
it happened
read,
before you got here.
okay, but that don't get my vote.
What,
That's okay.
so did the 12 months start when? Today, when we sign this?
So, are you, for design services?
Well, for this, I
Yeah, when's the
guess
clock start for like when you get going with this contract?
Yeah, so when you sign it.
today. So if we don't, the bids come in not good, then we still have to,
We may not even do the project.
right, but we still owe this much funds.
No. If you don't if bids come in too high and you decide not to do the project, you don't pay us for construction administration fees.
So how, those are broke out, how?
I can get you a breakout.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to get, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel more comfortable with that. Did we settle on these square footages then?
We've been working on that for quite a while, yes.
On those building sizes and stuff? For the two different buildings?
I've seen the preliminary drawings, but I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, we had to get through the preliminary, I mean, before we bought the property, we wanted to make sure everything was gonna fit, so we had, I mean, you have to just do some of that preliminary work just to know. Don't wanna buy a project.
And one thing to let you know, that preliminary work for that building stuff can be done, and it can fit on any site, so it wasn't wasted time. We wanna make sure it fits on this site, and if it doesn't go to this site, you still can use those plans and those design charrettes, all that input still is good for wherever the building might go.
We paid you for that.
Yes.
work.
Getting money.
Okay. So the county owns those pieces of it,
Correct.
okay?
I mean, I don't want either of you two to think, you know, especially Brian, don't think like we're not hearing what you're saying, because I agree. I think that we need to be researching bids and things before we just say, okay, we're gonna just go with the company. I think the difference here is that, you know, Tim has been definitely involved in this conversations well over a year ago, you know, and so it's not new and fresh to him. You haven't been involved in it, so it is brand new to you.
Yep.
I've
I
been in
haven't seen a
conversations
lot
with
come
you.
through
Yeah, and I
in the
don't,
last 4 months.
I don't think it's,
Sam?
I would just We absolutely could just say, you know what, let's bid this out, and then to me, I just feel like, well, I don't feel right about doing it that way at this point, and it's only because of the experience that I've had in this so far, and if you differ in that opinion, it's totally okay, and it's
I
not-
do, for 554,000, I think we need to look at it. I just do.
Well, I really want to get it broke out because of what that bid environment looks like. You know, I mean, I don't want to commit $500,000 and find out that, you know, we're not going to be able to go through with it at this point.
We can do that, Scott. We want to give you what your final number would be, so you've got it for your records to know, so you know your top dollar. We can break those fees out by those phases.
Yeah, because, I mean, you guys are gonna, if we move forward with this addition, you're gonna be doing that.
Which is completely separate from this,
No, well, it's not separate, it's the same firm.
separate projects.
Right, exactly, but it's still the same firm, you know? And if the monies aren't fall into place, I just wanna,
So are you wanting to table it, Scott, until we get the breakout, is that what you're asking, or you're saying, or?
well, it'd be nice to have that written that way before we sign this, to be honest with you. You know, because if the bid's 12, if the clock starts today, you know,
We're not near
12.
ready.
You
So are
know,
you talking about the 12-month construction schedule? So,
I don't know, it just says,
yeah, so the 12 months is what we're predicting that it would take to construct the whole thing. That 12 months does not, for construction phase services, does not start until you sign a contract with the contractor.
okay,
So we go out for bids, and then you're saying a year from that date that we said, okay, X company are building
Right,
this.
just like today's calendar day bids, we're estimated to be a year to build it.
And
So then if we don't end up not doing the project, you just get basically paid up to that
up to
point.
what we've done.
but we haven't been able to,
And I think that you may get
We're
this design
over-
in-house and wait to bid it to a certain time too, depending on what a bidding climate is, bidding environment,
Right.
time of year, all that makes a difference.
we're over a year out in Hancock, right?
Oh, well, we bid that last fall, we're supposed to be done mid-May on that one.
How's that looking, John?
It's good, they're framing the inside now, so.
But from start to finish, we're less than a year?
Yeah, that's a pretty simple structure out there.
Okay, well, I know it's a good year on the rehab, that we just did.
So what do you want, do you want us to wait till we get those numbers, or, I mean, I think two of us are ready to rock, one for sure is not, and I think we got at least two other opinions. If we
Well,
wanna
I-
wait until we get those, we can, otherwise let's go.
I mean, I know we've got time and money invested already, so, but I'd rather this be laid out that way rather than the way it is, but maybe this is,
Kim, what's the,
12 months. is just-
estimated percentage on the administrative cost for completion?
Usually it's between 25 and 30% of our,
I can't hear you. We got a fan blowing.
usually it's between 25 to 30% of our fee goes to construction administration.
That'd be item 5 on your con.
So if we go through you're saying 30% would be taken off of this number, is that what you're saying?
25 to 30, she said.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'd just be more comfortable if we get those broken out, and I'm not opposed to, because we've got, I don't know, over almost 50,000 spent already on some preliminary work and stuff. That's not included in this number, right?
That's correct.
Correct,
You know,
which
so-
we own.
So we're already
Yeah.
looking at 600 or something, but I'd just as soon have those broke out, I mean, so. that's kind of-
The only other thing I do want to say is that this is a full design package for 2 separate buildings, plus the site work, so just also keep that in mind, that it's for 2 full construction sets of drawings, so.
Did we look at doing just, what was the deal for separating the buildings?
I've worked in confined facilities before, you know, in the office, you're hearing the air ratchets and people are tracking the grease, and it just doesn't, it's not a great environment for the office to be connected to a mechanics building, and So-
There was no way to separate that from
I separated with the parking lot.
well, yeah.
But
Okay,
as far as the fumes and everything else, it just,
okay,
it's kind of a struggle, I think.
well,
Kim, can you break those out for us real quick? We'll have this, we'll put this on the next week's agenda. I mean, I don't think we're in a,
we're in a 911 position, are we?
what,
Okay, we're not in a 911 position for this.
in emergency position?
Yeah,
No,
no, okay,
because if the bids come in at 10 million, we're not doing it anyway.
right. Well, we wouldn't be ready for bid until when?
About August,
Yeah,
we're thinking about 4 months worth of design.
okay. Yeah, if you do, I mean,
Do you need a motion to table it, or what do you?
I'd just be more comfortable with that, getting those, and then, because I'm not opposed to moving forward, I just, like I said, those bids come in and such, and see where we're at.
We're not even close to the bid stage yet.
No, I know, I heard them, yeah, so, but I mean, the bid environment, just on what I've heard out there, I mean, and that's for just in the housing industry, it's went up a house last year is $15,000 more on construction than it was the year before.
But that's lumber, this will be
No,
steel, correct?
This is not just lumber, it's just everything.
I'm hoping to see some of those come back down now with COVID going, but I don't know. It's
Right.
been tough everywhere, and deliverables, everything.
Yeah,
The
well-
supply chain issue, I think to me, it looks like our whole country's got this last minute supply chain deal, you know, once you get a hiccup with something, it just screws everything up.
But, so does that, as she works along, does that preclude the dirt work to happen, or is that still not, is that part of their contract, you can't do that? or-
It's in the site work, I mean, there's phasing in here, if we broke that out, I don't know if that's something we get into or not, we're not that far along, there's something we can talk about, just breaking that dirt work out, do it separately, but.
Does that not gonna have to sit once you do the dirt work, the siding?
No, the buildings are gonna be uncut, so that's about the best situation we can get
Okay,
for those.
okay, well, if we can do that, I don't know, you guys made a motion in a second, you wanna
I'll
change
rescind it.
change it to
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Table till
change it
next
to tabling. You look at it, Tim?
till next Tuesday?
Whatever you want, Scott, that'll work.
Not what I want, it's what the board wants.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, let's just put them next Tuesday and we'll get those numbers and we'll go from there. I don't know if we have to vote on it, you can
okay. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, that
Sounds
work?
good? Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks.
Can you send over or John, can you give, everybody, make sure they've gotten it, the site plan and such? I don't know that we've seen the site plan.
I went over one day and looked at it.
I mean, is it set, the site plan, or is it still being?
It's all pretty preliminary, I think we're pretty close, I don't think there's a lot of work to be done, I think we have a kind of a finished floor elevation or close to it, and
Okay,
I don't know how accurate our surveys are, but.
Yeah, we'll get you something.
okay,
Where are you on the acquisition of that property, Scott?
The airport accepted our offer, they're waiting for the FAA to release the property.
and then,
You say you're removing trees now?
Yes, we got an access agreement on it, we have until May 7th to remove the trees.
78 was,
So we're working on that now.
Okay. And you're saying once we sign a or accept a bid, then it's 12 months from there?
Okay.
12 months.
Construction.
Construction, we're assuming that it would take 12 months now. Like with the addition, we had originally predicted 18 months. We had caught wind that steel wasn't available for joist and decking, so that's why we let the contractors choose their dates, their completion dates. We always have that option on here as well for
Okay.
construction.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Jenna Limerick, HR, discussion and decision to approve appointment of Jenna Limerick as that's Title VI coordinator, right?
Correct.
And that, Mary was that before.
Yes, your previous HR director was the Title VI coordinator, but Andrew and I could not find anywhere in past minutes where she was appointed. After speaking with the civil rights coordinator at the Iowa DOT, he recommended that it should be something that the board appoints every year and is in the minutes. So that's why I'm here today. And really, what Title VI is, it's part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, saying that no person shall, on the ground of race, color, national origin, gender, age, or disability, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. We do receive federal financial assistance from the Department of Transportation, especially when we have situations like floods and such. We do receive funding from them. And so they just want to ensure that there is a coordinator who's keeping their eye not only on those projects, but once we receive that federal funding, it then would be for any projects that we do to ensure that there is no sort of discrimination going on. Some examples of that might be, let's say John was going to cut a new road, or no, let's say he was going to work on a bridge and the bridge had to be shut down, and access to one part of a city that happens to be lower socioeconomic challenged, maybe they couldn't get to their houses and we didn't inform them properly, or maybe they don't have access to internet and so we're not communicating with them. It's keeping an eye on those types of things. If we're going to purchase, maybe conservation was going to purchase some land, how are we communicating with anyone that's impacting that might be disadvantaged by this? How are we communicating? How are they having a say in these projects?
I'll make a motion to approve Jen Limerick as the Title VI coordinator.
She is only, I think I'm the primary on those documents and she's what's the secondary?
So
The administrator or whatever.
Yep, the board, there is a document that the board chairman needs to sign, so we are having a review from the Civil Rights with the Department of Transportation in May. This is a standard review. I spoke with him last week. There's no issues. He said Pottawatomie County has just never had a review, and we've received federal funding for a long time. So it's just part of the review. He has sent some documents that I need to continue to review. And then I do think there is one that Scott, you need to sign, but that will be back on the agenda.
I'll second the motion just for conversation.
And then, I thought it's every year, huh? I was thinking in that document I saw every 5 years, but maybe it was
He recommended that it be in the board minutes.
every year.
Every year, yeah. So it's probably something that we should just throw on the first January meeting.
Yeah, January 1, yeah.
Yep, yeah.
And will that be involved with the additions and stuff? All the different buildings we got going on?
Yep, any project. So if we're sending out bids, we need to have a non-discrimination
Only
notice.
Only if it's federal money.
So the money we get for this American Relief Program, those type of monies we spend, then absolutely this would be a part of it. But anything we do, John gets money from gas tax from the state, no. So, there's a difference there.
Well,
There may be a state regulation that's similar, but
yeah.
This is a federal deal.
Which we want to comply with anyway.
Yes. Yeah. And so
What's your position?
And I can continue to gather more information. And this review really is for him to explain what their process is and what they expect us to do. So more information will absolutely be coming on this. This is just a very first step to distinguish who's going to be the coordinator, and then more to come after that.
I think it's best suited in HR anyway.
Yep. That's what they had.
Provide the information for us.
You betcha.
John, did you work with Mary before?
Yeah, this came around about 2012, and probably the biggest change for, I just brought some letterhead. We added some language to our letterheads. It goes into our local contracts, and if we let through the DOT, that Title VI stuff's all in the DOT stuff already, so that's turnkey there. So we just added some language to our contracts.
Half-inch thick.
Awesome, yeah.
So it's you two that oversee that?
Well,
Chairman
she oversees it.
He just signs on our behalf.
Okay.
To make sure she's doing what she's supposed to.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Discussion and decision to approve and authorize board to sign board resolution 1921 entitled Potawatomi County Resolution to adopt the National Incident Management System, NIMS, and Potawatomi County NIMS implementation plan. So moved. Motion by Short.
I'll second.
Second by Shay.
I was hoping I could get a chance to speak on this.
Discussion? Go ahead. What's that?
So Jana notified me that this was back on the agenda again, and it was still in with the policy committee review. We were waiting for some responses back from EMA on some of the things that we had sent over as far as needed changes to this. I mean, one of the most important pieces of it that we wanted to make sure was clarified to the board, and that's kind of the benefits of having these committees with the department heads to be able to review these, is that we take a deeper dive into them to research through to make sure that the board fully gets to understand what they're adopting as it goes through. And the memo that was sent over telling you that it was a legal requirement under the law to adopt this plan it's not a legal requirement to adopt this plan. It is for the hazard mitigation plan, which we have adopted. The other part of it is just.
He clarified that at the last meeting. I asked him to, and he clarified it was a re-up of the old NIMS. It was not a state mandate. He said that in the meeting.
We are literally the only one on the list that has not approved this.
I understand, but there's other things that go along with this. Part of it being was that this was a plan that was made directly just within this department without any stakeholder input in on that. And with the department heads here at the county, we need to be able to make sure that our personnel can meet the training plan that's outlined within here. Normally, when a plan like this is developed, you would have stakeholder input in on the plan, and it would get developed on the ground up. All of those parties would come to the table, we would work it out through work groups. This happens in every plan, theoretically, that's adopted throughout the county, that we come in together and we work on these things. As a group, the other jurisdictions, the small towns would have come in and put their input in on it. Along with that, FEMA has an actual metric system that goes with the NIMS implementation plan. That is not in this plan. It's another piece that realistically, if we had a stakeholder meeting that would come together on that, it could have gotten pointed out, hey, let's put a metric system in here so we know as a county where we stand as far as being fully NIMS trained. That's what the metrics would be able to show. Anytime the Board of Supervisors would have wanted to request it, the Board of Health would have wanted to request it, any of the small towns could have requested it to see where we're at as far as NIMS implementation.
Is that a state?
It's a federal document.
Federal?
It goes right along with it. Another part of it would have been, in the plan, it should be noted that we have adopted the NIMS implementation. It was adopted in 2005. The history of the county adoption piece of that should have been noted within this plan.
He said that at the last meeting, that the last time it was adopted was 2005, and this was the same.
I think it's great that he's saying all these things.
Okay.
But if he's sending out memos to a board telling you that something is a legally requirement, not just coming back and saying to you, oh, I was wrong, it's not. It should be put back in a memo, sent back out to all the jurisdictions that it was an incorrect statement to have made. Same thing with to say that, yes, there's a history of it. That's great to say that there's a history of it. It should be noted in the plan. It's a written document that's going to be here long after you and I are gone. Right. That's why you put it in the plan in the first place. So there's just those things that if you take it out of the policy committee before it's ready to come to the Board of Supervisors with those changes, it kind of pushes back the department head's work that we're putting into it at the time, which I mean, you're fully able to do, but I really feel like the insurance committee has made great additions to the county. The policy committee has made great additions to the county and the work that's been adopted to it. And I think allowing this document, there's no legal timeline on it. It's not something, there's not a 911. allowing it to go through the same process that we have done with the rest of the documents will bring greater value to the county, its staff and department heads, and even EMA as we move forward, instead of just pushing to get it through now. I mean, we can make these changes, we can have these stakeholder meetings, it's not too late.
I'm available to address any questions the board might have.
My question is, where's the policy committee at on this, and why aren't we done yet? Like,
So I can speak to that. So I did, so the policy committee met about it, came up with a list of questions. Chief Deputy Thulin said he would take those questions back. We have not received a response back. I reached out to Chief Deputy to say, where are we with this? Can we get this back on the agenda? This was the end of March. He indicated I should speak with some of the board members about where we are in the process. And that's where we are.
well, I'm gonna make this very clear. So I'm the one that pumped the brakes in this thing, said,
Right.
get it to the policy committee, get them to review it, get this information to the board. And now here we are, 3 weeks later now, and we still don't have an answer, and you're asking us to basically send it back to the policy committee to review. I do not like reviewing things 10 times. Like, it should be done before it even gets on this damn agenda. So take that back to the policy committee, get those recommendations and get it done. Because otherwise, I don't want to keep revisiting this. These are things that we just need to move on and get down the road. Conversations that I've kind of had amongst the board and through Jeff Tulin is that we're good to go. Like, get this thing done and get moving forward. The rest of the communities in the county have all signed on to this, so we are the last ones that haven't done it yet. And I don't like being the last one ever.
I definitely see what you're saying, and the policy committee's intention is not to be stringing this out. We are waiting for the response from
I'm
Jeff.
just saying, if the policy committee can't get this reviewed and get this done, I'm not gonna go to the policy committee for this purpose. We'll do it on some other things.
How long was that, Jana, when he said that he was gonna follow up some questions?
It was
Because
the
I know
March.
he reached out, what's that?
March, the end of March.
He should have got answers back already, and as far as I know, what was done with the policy is, there's nothing wrong with it, it was supposed to be.
And that's fine, but it didn't come back to the committee, because I had asked Jeff, can I get this committee back together? Where are we with getting the responses to those questions? And the response was, talk to the board.
I mean, are no changes gonna be made to the document? Because we sent the changes over about adding in the history of the NIMS adoption. Let's talk about the metric system. And if we're not gonna, we have to have a response back in order to be able to bring back something, unless you wanna.
Send over to who? To
Those were sent over through the chief deputy to EMA. And we're just, as far as I knew, we're just waiting on the responses from them so we can continue on with the policy committee piece of it.
That's my
Doug,
understanding.
have you received any of those?
I have not received any list of questions at the policy committee or recommended changes. In a series of a couple meetings that we had the previous week where the chief deputy was here in the EOC, we had a conversation about some of the questions and really centered around the question of, is readopting the resolution a legal requirement, or were the requirements that NIMS be adopted and institutionalized by the county and its subordinate departments and agencies? And so we had a discussion about that, which also prompted the clarification at my commission meeting the following Thursday from that, just to make sure everybody was on page. In the beginning of this document, in the information sent out, we've addressed that the primary reason for doing this and having resolutions readopted to reaffirm everybody's commitment to follow the national response plan and to follow the doctrinal guidance from NIMS is because we've had such a huge turnover since 2005, 2006, in all of our primary public safety department heads, a lot of our key stakeholder agencies, and especially within our elected leadership. And the primary purpose of redoing the resolutions is just to get that re-buy-in and that recommitment and get a formal re-awareness or exposure in front of the decision makers. The adoption of NIMS is not a tactical level decision. It is an executive level decision. And it is one that is clearly shown through federal guidance, through grant contract requirements and also through state code, that these things, if not explicitly mentioned, are definitely expressed to be followed, implemented, and institutionalized through reference in existing planning and disaster language in Iowa code, which was spelled out further after Supervisor Wickman asked for that information and was provided later that same day, the last time I was before the board.
So is there the possibility of getting those recommendations added to the MIMS plan? One of them being the matrix that are
I'm not sure what matrix that they're referring to, NIMS, and the NIMS Integration Center at the federal level through FEMA have had several matrices out there over time. And what is in the current implementation plan is the current local and tribal and territorial government implementation guidance that they just updated within the last I can't remember the date on it. It is, let me look at it here in the plan. I believe I have it referenced. But in the implementation plan, the annexes, which are the target indicators of compliance, are the new matrix, if you will, of what local jurisdictions need to do to be considered NIMS compliant. And those come and have been regurgitated directly from the current matrix and guidance produced by the federal government. So you have their implementation objectives for the general components of NIMS compliance, for resource management, for command and coordination, for communication and information components. On top of that, they've got newer recommendations from previous training recommendation matrix that has been updated since the original 2005 version, which is what that existing 2005 NIMS implementation plan would document. And within this new plan, which includes the training, you have those recommendations and the matrix, page 21 of the plan that shows the core curriculum and then shows the different focus areas of what responders should take, what courses, along with an additional local NIMS core training plan based on that federal guidance. So the old school metrics stuff, I'm just not sure what date or what document Mr. White is referring to, but everything within the existing plan is based on the newest and latest guidance and plan updates that come from NIMS, which is also the additional priority of why we just need to redo everything. They've just updated stuff and we haven't really moved. There's a new methodology for coordinating and managing training, for example, because we have seen since the initial training push, starting in about 2006, that once the initial training was done, everybody was left on their own and left to their own devices to keep up with training, re-education, new personnel, all this good stuff, and it just simply didn't happen. You know, we've seen that through different exercise and incident events, and so we've got a better centrally coordinated methodology of tracking NIMS compliance and training as is recommended within the doctrine produced by FEMA.
okay. Thank you. Can we, I guess, agree to get the, whatever the planning committee gave to Jeff and get that to, I guess, Brian and Justin and let them get it to Doug and let their board decide what they want to do with those recommendations? I guess, are they recommendations or suggestions or whatever they are?
Yeah, recommendations, suggestions, questions. Yes, I can coordinate with
I mean,
Jeff
is
to get
that-
that information.
Do you have those, Matt?
I do, yes. We can send them directly over to you, so that they can make it to Doug.
I'd appreciate that. Jeff, Adam?
I thought it was taken care of.
My conversation was that
Jeff
we're good
forwarded
to
on
go,
to you,
get
and
moving
then he
forward,
told you to
so
check with
I
the
don't,
board with the
When I was up
recommendation,
there
so.
last week, it sounded like it too. Up at the
As far as I know,
office.
it was
We-
done,
we've
it was a
just-
done deal.
We've
It's-
just had, me and the chief have just had face-to-face conversation about this.
But I know he reached out to several other, counties, you know, I guess, more proactive counties, and there's other counties that are doing the same thing Doug has done, essentially updating a 16-year-old policy that, you know, is more in line with what the policies are now. And as far as I know, it was done, so I don't know what's going on
And
now.
I don't discount any of the work or any of the ideas that may be provided, but if it's simply redoing parts of the plan and getting it back out to every jurisdiction again, just to give honorable mention that we've done this in 2005, when we've already kind of communicated and shared that with folks, as well as this matrix thing, which is clearly covered in the plan already by the new standards produced by FEMA. Quite frankly, we would just be spinning our wheels to add a couple sentences here and there. Matrix-wise, for compliance, implementation, and institutionalization, the new standards are in the plan that you have before you. As far as training recommendations for implementation of NIMS, those recommendations are in there with graphics directly out of the NIMS doctrine and the updated NIMS training plan produced by FEMA. So if those are their questions or recommendations, they're already covered.
Well, we'll just get those and, they can, bring them back to your board and, you guys can, decide whether they're worthy of, being regurgitated again or not. So I think that's probably the best process to go down, don't you think? I mean,
As far as I'm concerned, it's done. I don't think we need to redo this again, but
okay.
I thought it was already handled.
I would concur with the sheriff.
I'm just gonna say this, I hate bureaucracy, and I'm sure everyone else does too, and it's happening at the county level right now. We didn't have someone assigned to be the champion of this policy, to get it through the committee and get it back to us. Like, this is not how it should have worked. It should have been someone, policy committee, review it, get it back to the board, get this thing moving forward. I can't stress enough how frustrated I am with it, because we should be long past this by now. So, I don't, at this point, I'm with the sheriff on, I just wanna get it done and over with. I'm done waiting. I gave that opportunity. I didn't have to. We chose to, and here we are. So,
Well, in fairness to the, committee, I was there when those questions were provided to Jeff to get the answers to the policy committee, back to the policy committee. I have not seen anything. And I'm just being honest and fair. I don't really wanna say I can't say what I really wanna say, but, I haven't seen any correspondence back from Jeff on this, so I don't know where we're at. You know, there is one thing that, I thought we were going to get some clarification on it. And it says in the plan that it says that, in essence, Potawatomi County directs all of our departments to implement the provisions of the said plan in coordination with the Potawatomi County Emergency Management Agency. What departments? What departments are gonna be required to be part of
the
it?
simple answer is it depends. It's always gonna depend, right?
Okay.
It depends on the issue.
Some of those were the questions that were asked, that, so, you know what, if,
Let's just say we had a change that we wanted to make. At this point, does it matter? I mean, ask the question yourself, does it matter? All the other entities in the county have signed on to this thing. We haven't. So what, by us saying, no, we're not adopting because of this clause or this whatever, it really doesn't change anything at the end of the day.
well, how many of those, I'm not going there either.
Well,
I don't really,
it's either we adopt the FEMA program or we don't.
we have this in place right now. NIMS of 05. It's still, we're still acting under that program.
I'd rather
Matt, are
get
these
16 years
questions,
worth of updates done.
What's that?
are they onto this
Multitasking?
NIMS?
16 years old, and it's been updated. several times since then.
looking how to put it. Is that your questions and your concerns, are they involved in this NIMS, adopting this NIMS program?
I don't want to direct it at, as it my questions or concerns, it was the policy committee as a
Policy
group.
committee, I'm sorry.
You know, and I can say that we haven't dropped the ball on one of these policies that's come before us yet. We thought we given it to the right person, we thought these things were getting addressed, gonna bring it back to us, and we're gonna bring it before the board. That's the way we've handled all of these. The parts that are in there that are being kind of cast aside as, it doesn't necessarily matter to have them in that. It matters to have those into a plan that you're gonna adopt county-wide. You need to have that information in there, and that would go with any plan that was being adopted by the county. And the department heads have to be able to understand what kind of staffing requirement is this going to put on them to make sure that they have their staff at trainings at certain parts or done at certain times. And this could have all been avoided through stakeholder meetings to develop the plan. This is not a plan that one person can sit down and write and then dictate out to a bunch of jurisdictions and say, this is what you need to do. It's something that you bring the jurisdictions in and say, what can we meet? How can we make this work? These are my goals that we have to achieve. So how can we get there? And then you outline the steps on what it is and develop the plan at that time. You can't just formulate the training plan and say, there you go, this is what you all have to follow. It's a legal requirement to adopt it.
Okay. Please send them to me, would you?
Will do.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Roll call
Wait a minute, motion is second to what?
to pass the NIMS plan.
Well, I think
we
we
want
not
to table.
wait or not?
What? Whatever, I mean,
I don't care, I don't care, if we wait 1 week, it's not that big a deal, it's just get it done. I mean, that's the bottom
Let's
line,
get
I don't know
let's
who I'm
get
even
these
talking to
deals
right
here
now.
and
It's just a
go
matter
with
of, we're
that.
gonna
So
sign the
table.
policy committee, do it.
Can we table?
yep, table till next week.
Okay.
Who's
Okay.
championing it from policy committee? Like, who are we signing this to? Because I don't wanna be back here next week, because otherwise I'm pushing this through.
Chief Deputy said he would take the questions back to Doug, get the answers, and then it's to come back to, those answers come back to policy committee. I reached out to Jeff, asked where we are, can we get this back to policy committee? He said, you need to talk to the board. So here, and I didn't put this on the agenda today, I will be happy to get policy committee back ASAP, but it sounds like you guys wanna see some of the questions, and so I wanna make sure that we're doing it in the right order too. If you guys wanna see them first, well then, I can schedule policy committee.
I
I
just
think we'll see them this afternoon.
I wanted them questions to go to these two
Cause they're on that,
to take
yeah.
to their board, and, I mean, their board decides.
Right.
I mean, we don't decide, we decide on this resolution, and, you know, I mean,
I mean, I don't wanna sound like wrong, but it's just, we're kinda superseded by this other commission anyway.
you're
So,
right.
If we don't,
That's why
even if we don't do this, it doesn't really matter, they're still trumping what the board's doing.
the sheriff and the cities and everyone, the volunteer, everybody's signed on to it. So, I mean, I just don't see where it's that damaging by approving this resolution and adopting the plan and continuing to whatever, update it or improve it or whatever we're doing with the policy committee. I mean,
So then maybe that's the route to go. Go ahead, adopt it and approve it, but then make it on a caveat that EMA holds stakeholder meetings to
Right.
bring everybody back to rework the training plan.
It don't bother me any at all.
We already have a committee in place to do just that.
Not a committee, a stakeholder meeting.
We already have a committee to address exactly what your question is.
stakeholders,
You're saying the whole board?
they are.
The whole board, or are we gonna have stakeholder meetings?
Would that be department heads and everything?
We have an established advisory committee that will be working on this issue as well in relation to our overall training, planning, and exercise plan that's going to be developed.
which would include stakeholders.
Are you part of the commission? Are you involved in that?
Yes. No, I'm not on that committee, no.
So what's the committee?
Doug?
I'm sorry?
Let's postpone it till we can get back.
Okay,
Let's move on.
okay.
Who's doing it? Janet's gonna set up a meeting with the policy committee, and hopefully we'll have some answers from Andy that were requested at the last meeting. I don't know. Have you seen them?
I don't know questions.
Okay.
I've not seen questions.
Okay.
I think the only question I was talking about is, are there people doing this and why did Doug do this in the first place? And it's, from what I understand, we reached out to some larger counties, more proactive counties, and they are updating their policy. That's kind of where we're at, so. You have smaller counties that still have their same, old policy from the original NIMS, and we have other counties that are being more proactive and updating their policies like any policy should be, I guess.
Awesome.
Chairman, can we take a 5-minute break?
We're just about done.
Take 5 minutes.
All right, I'll be right back.
Did you find all the Title VI stuff and links to the form you have to fill out online, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Is all you have left, is it the moving funds around and homesteads?
Andy's deal.
I might need to get a attorney here.
Stick around. I gotta talk to Andrew, he sends me the draft agendas, but I don't.
Are you working, are you working on that,
Fisher Olson?
yeah,
Yep, I got some paperwork yesterday afternoon from Mike Geyer, so I'm reporting. That's fine.
and then,
I'll get it to you.
and then Mary O'Neill,
Talking to her as well. I gotta review some stuff from Jack Rouge.
okay. Glad to get that.
So I wanted to switch it to, as it says right here, communications equipment, including a vehicle for emergency response situation. I want this with this, well, the monitoring. In my professional opinion, emergency response vehicle, response vehicle to tow this thing. Because here's essentially what it is. We need that.
Is Leanne up there today, Matt?
Yep.
Okay.
That was the.
But he, I thought that was
Right.
he remembers it.
Yeah.
He was originally like, because they knew this was getting switched around. They were good with it. I was good with it. I'll put mortgage. Not the buffer, just kind of clamp off. Hey, if you need the 5,005 radios with it, I'm okay, but I'm not going to buy that with that bunch. I don't need it.
That's what it says in writing, that's what you go by.
There's that contractor on the highway project in Hancock, he's looking for dirt. You like maybe give him your number, or are you selling? I couldn't remember if you had dirt you're selling off that,
But it's less than what
part of your farm there.
Driveway's done.
It's done.
our radios are all over the line.
Why, somebody got some more dirt down there?
They're looking to buy some there on that project right next to us on Hancock there, that bridge. He's looking to buy, so he didn't know if we had anybody, but,
Which bridge are you working on now?
this is a DOT contractor. It's not even with the county.
I know. Well, which one are they working on?
They're gonna start that one right there south of Hancock.
But south of Hancock?
Right on the south edge there, right by our property.
On the corner?
Yeah, they're gonna replace that with a pipe, so they're looking for dirt, probably about a month or so. I didn't know if you had any leads I could give them or not.
No, we don't, but
Okay.
that guy that I bought my dirt from, he would probably sell them some.
Who is that?
Rocky Crater. Or no, that's not right. His name's Rocky, but he's, Billings.
Rocky Billings. Okay.
Rocky
I'll
Billings.
look at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're back to, discussion and decision, regarding sheriff's office and use of money for previous bond.
Andy, do you wanna tell us what's going on?
Yeah,
I asked to
so,
put this on the agenda.
Now that the rubber's hit the road, originally the bond, the 2020A, back, that was filed back in March, was for $455,000, the general obligation capital loan note. It does state in there that it's for police officer communication equipment and also vehicle for emergency response situations. We kind of changed our equipment on what we wanted to essentially order under that bond. Our bond attorney is Jason Komsky, sound right? Comiskey. He's kind of pushing back on, he was under the understanding it was gonna be like a recreational style vehicle with communication equipment in it. We are looking for essentially a power unit, which is a 5500 dually Ram, and also a gooseneck trailer with another piece of power equipment on it and attachments. So he's not comfortable with the verbiage in the bond from March of 2020. He did go on to say that if we wanted to go for a different bond, it'd be okay. This bond could either be canceled or we could use that 455 for actual communication equipment. But he doesn't feel comfortable with what we want to use the money for the essentially power unit and trailer with another power unit on it, so.
The trailer and the unit, he's fine with, isn't he?
No, it doesn't, the bond doesn't say that, I read the important part of the bond, it's 455 for police officer communication equipment and then also vehicle for emergency response situations. He does remember being at the bond hearing back in March, saying that, yeah, we approved one for $300,000 for vehicles, which we've already spent and bought those vehicles for, and the 455, which is supposed to go to like a recreational style vehicle, motor unit, with radio communications in it. So he doesn't feel comfortable switching the RV to a power unit pulling a trailer, which essentially is still emergency response vehicle with radio communications in it, so.
So bottom line is we need to basically refund the amount for the bonds and either rebond for this new purpose or spend cash on hand or, find a different way to do it. I mean, those are.
And Jason is up
Oh,
for a
and by the way,
conference
the
call.
equipment's been ordered, so it's coming.
What's that?
The bond attorney had mentioned it might be easier to get a call to discuss this. And he sent an email for his initial thoughts.
I mean, we basically just need to get a new bond with this as the title.
So what do we do with the proceeds of what we got? Can we do another?
We put it back in.
Well, he claimed we could either A, cancel it, which is an option, I guess, for you guys, or B, we could use the money for our outdated communication equipment anyway. He was okay with that. Or then we, like I said, cancel it, or then we file for a copy, so.
What kind of communication equipment?
Well, it's the whole radio package, the TDMA radios, they're all outdated eventually, like we've talked about it before, how within the next year or two, we're gonna have to have new radios anyway, we could use the money for that, he said, because it's actually in the bond for communication equipment, or we can cancel it, so.
So the communication equipment dollar amount, do you know that?
Wouldn't it?
No, we
talking
would just,
apples,
I mean, we
apples?
could easily spend that money, it's just that we didn't know how many units we could actually buy when it comes to portable radios and mobile radios, so.
What I'm saying is like, if you've allocated $500,000 for radio equipment in your budget, and then we're now gonna use that for bond, then we use your $500 cash on hand, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see, can we swap those funds, or did you not
Right
allocate?
now, in the 2021 budget, we do not have that in there at all. This is kind of a newer discussion that happened toward the end of
Okay, so
last
this is the.
year. It's going to be coming up here the next year or two. We're just trying to be proactive about it and start getting some ordered, so it takes less off of,
Yeah, no, I think
the end result.
We need to have conversations with the city on that before using.
Well, I guess I didn't read those emails that way.
What emails?
The emails from Jason and, was it Jeff?
Yeah, I was at the office on Friday, so Jeff,
Did you talk to Jason then?
only over email. Because the way, attorney to attorney, it's not, I think they pretty much understand what they're talking. The bond attorney does not want to put this equipment on that bond.
So where were these emails?
Where were the emails?
Where, I didn't get it. Any specific reason everybody on the board didn't get it? That's the kind of communication we're missing here.
So the reason, Tim, the reason it came up here is like, we were good to go on the equipment. We finally came across a power unit at Stu Hansen Dodge, and they wanted our bond number. So I think either Steve Winchell or Jeff Thulin reached out to Becky, and then somehow the bond attorney got involved with it, with the whole thing, saying that I don't like the idea. This just happened on Friday, and I think it trickled into Monday, so.
I don't know, did Melvin or somebody, Jeff maybe sent them to, I don't know, I'll have to look.
I don't have the emails either, but I mean.
Well, I don't, that's something we need to have another discussion on. But there's absolutely no reason that this board, everybody should not have the information that you're providing. Did you get the email, Scott?
Yeah, I think.
Well, why didn't you forward it to the rest of the board?
I assumed you got it. I didn't look at the twos. I mean,
I don't think that really matters. The situation, the attorney's not comfortable with,
Then we cancel the bond.
we have to refund the proceeds from the bond or use it for radios, because we can use it for them if we want, but I don't think we're far enough down that road to do that right now.
Nope.
Now, the issue that's out
can't have
there,
another public hearing then.
we can. So we just would have to basically rebond against that equal amount for this purpose.
A small amount like that,
I mean,
we can't find funding elsewhere?
you can, but you're back to that same dilemma of why you've already, okay, think of it this way, like we've already asked for this money from taxpayer to
I understand.
use this money. The language of that bond does not meet the need that we have today, so all we would essentially need to do is just, for lack of a better word, just take out the loan with the right language and start over.
I'm chiming in only because I've just read that bond myself. I'm curious why the attorney has the opinion that he has. Because, as a lawyer, I'm told in court all the time, if it didn't make it into the transcript, it didn't happen, right? What's in writing controls. You go to buy a car at a car dealer, right? They can talk to you all they want, but what's in the contract is what matters. That bond just says, or the notice of the hearing, unless there's something else out, I don't know about the I'm just looking at the public notice that was provided at the time. And it says, peace officer communications equipment and other emergency services communication and equipment and systems. I guess it doesn't say communication, maybe that's the hang up. It says including a vehicle for emergency response situations. I don't know,
I agree with you 100%. The way I read it was that we were covered. But, that's up to you, and
if it's
Committee to
easier
figure
to
out.
handle to just cancel it and do something new, I mean, it may not be worth, you know, the hassle. It just seems to me.
It's not easy, we have to do another hearing, you know, and I mean, it's.
I don't think it's that unusual that you have one elected official that has spending thoughts, and then he leaves office and a new elected official comes in who has different spending thoughts, and as long as those spending thoughts are within the terms of the budget and or, you know, bonding, then making those changes to me is not earth-shattering. Rick had ideas that he wanted to spend stuff on the office, then he left office and I came in and I spent it on different stuff, you know, so. That, to me, that language is not, it's not clearly forbidden. I'd approve it, but I'm not, I don't know what other.
Bond attorneys are so specific,
Yeah, this,
even more than you.
yeah, this one is just, that's not super clear on what it has to be spent on. And a vehicle for emergency response situations, the stuff that they're looking at and have ordered, definitely fits that. It's not communications equipment, so if that's the hang-up, you know, it's like, well, what, you know, but.
Okay.
I'd be okay with it.
Stupid question.
Then I think we throw in a couple radios, there's your communication equipment.
Well, we're
I'm
going to be
just being
installing a radio
sarcastic,
in both power units. I mean, regardless,
Okay.
they're gonna be radio in them anyway, and.
Talk about bonding for cars on that other bond. Could we not close with this and transfer that over?
That's what I mean.
Or are we gonna be in the same boat?
You're just messing with the cycle he's got going.
Okay.
You could.
I'm with you, with your last comment, Mr. Schultz, that, I personally believe that the equipment that our sheriff is looking at fits the description of the bond language that we approved last year.
Decision rests with us, so if we decide to move forward and let them do it with the bond, then so be it. And then
But then they come back against us.
But that's the problem, is
On
who's
that
they? I mean, who's they? And if they come forward, we're gonna be able to basically have the same argument we just had today. You know, so,
What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I'd rather not have fights, but I mean, I don't feel bad about that fight. I mean, I feel like, you know, I mean, I don't have bond training experience, but I certainly have reading English language training experience. And looking at the you know, the language of the, you know, public notice, and to me, it is, you know, it's not, you know, some things they would say for purchase of, and it would be very specific. It would say you know, a recreational style vehicle for, you know, blah, blah, blah. It does not say that. It just says a vehicle for emergency response situations. And clearly what they're looking at
And
fits.
it's not a recreational vehicle.
Yeah.
And we asked, when we did those bonds,
It doesn't say that, Brian.
we asked that those bonds be
That
written.
it's not a recreational?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't say recreation.
That's what I'm saying. I think that was Jeff's intent. Jeff Danker intended to purchase basically an RV style response vehicle. We already have one of those. And so I think the new sheriff's position is, I have better uses for that money than upgrading the vehicle we already got. So I'd prefer to spend it on this emergency response vehicle. And since the bond doesn't say it has to be an RV or something along those lines, it just says a vehicle for emergency response situations. And I think that's what he wants to do, is say, I understand Jeff's intent was to spend that differently. That's not the question. The question is his intent within the language of the bond that is out there? And unless there's something else, like I said, I haven't, I mean, I just.
They're both, I believe they're both essential county purposes, so
was there a general versus essential kind of thing going on in that conversation?
Maybe let me get the email here and see if I can find it here.
But we specifically back then asked them to write those as broad as possible, just for this reason. You know, that's my.
Yeah, cause he hadn't even picked out like the make and model and all that stuff of this yet, when we did bond, he just said he wanted one, and he figured it'd be in this ballpark, so.
I mean, what if you had a bond that said for Motorola radios, and then Motorola went out of business and, or got bought by somebody else and it's called something else, and now you're screwed, right? So that's why they write those a little more broadly, so that you don't run into those problems. So
I'm willing to stick my neck out on this, and, you know, if it comes, goes back to hobby, so we'll find a different way to finance it. I mean, it's not like we're trying to break the law and screw someone over. I think it's more or less, we read the language a little differently than somebody else. Then if we're wrong, then we'll fix it.
I have a live chat question. Becky Belt wants to know, why is Ayler's not offering repurpose hearing?
Repurpose what?
Hearing.
Well, that's why I thought we could have a hearing to repurpose the bond funds.
Okay, does this need any
Could-
action today?
Could we
No, I
do
put a
that?
decision in case we
Scott?
need to.
So we're moving forward, right?
Well, if we can.
I like what Becky Belt said.
I like what Matt Wilbur says.
Well,
He's
I'm fine, but I tell you, if it's not a big deal to have a hearing, like I said, I would prefer to avoid fights rather than win them.
We have a repurpose hearing and we call it an emergency response vehicle,
All right, let's just
which
call.
is exactly what the language says.
Let's just call this guy. Like, we're sitting here debating something we don't know. Let's call the guy on the phone.
I don't know if we can get him, can we get him on the phone, Becky?
We pay him money, he better answer his damn phone.
I don't know.
We
Is
don't pay him money anymore.
Justin, is that something you can do
Call him?
outside the board meeting?
No, I think we should call him now. Get it over with.
Okay.
Do we have his number?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
What is it?
Looks like 515.
Okay.
246
246.
0337.
12:30 is out to lunch.
0400.
That's it. I don't know what you're talking about. Two people talking. What do we want?
He was gonna give you the
I give
password.
you the passcode for our, I probably shouldn't do that.
Okay, what's the number?
515.
Do I have to dial one first?
Yeah, or by 9 to get.
51. Do I need a nine?
515.
No.
1515
246
246
0337.
0037.
No, 0337. Did you say 2 zeros?
0337?
Yep, 0337.
I'm sorry.
You're live.
1515
246
246
0337. That's long 3.
Can you just call speaker from your damn phone, please?
One of your numbers stuck, Scott. All right, here, let's see, who has the hammer?
That gavel's right next to it.
5150.
You try it one more time? 515
Yep.
246
246
0337.
337. Do I need a 1 in front of that?
Usually.
Where's my ball? There it is. Zero.
Did you dial 9 first to get an outline?
I don't think you do from here easily. You know, from that office.
Click the number to call it, please.
9
From speaker.
and
Can you do that?
515
Hold on, he's already got him on the
246
phone.
0337.
Enter your password, followed by the...
04.
My IT experience right there for you.
Be out for lunch.
That's the only number I was provided, so.
Your call has been answered by a via IP office.
Jason Thomas speaking.
Is not available. To leave a message, wait for the tone. When finished,
What do you want to do?
I think,
I don't know that you need to do anything right now. I think this is some time to get a hold of the.
How long you got, Andy, before you have to pick it up?
Well, Stu Hansen's wanting to figure out how we're going to pay for the power unit soon. Otherwise,
Who's Stu Hansen?
it's a Dodge dealership, I think, out
Oh.
of Moline. They're the ones that give us the state contract bid, so I mean, we're
Okay.
gonna a good sized truck for, you know, decent money.
I'd
so.
give them that bond number and roll with it.
Well,
But then regardless, the other unit doesn't need to be paid for until delivery, and that sounds like it's gonna be June 14th.
June 14th?
Mm-hmm.
so we should be able to repurpose it by then.
If we have to.
Well, I mean, just to clean it up and be done with it, right?
I think so.
When I get back to my office, I can't figure out how to get Outlook on this, when it comes to your contacts, to get a forwarded email. I'll forward the email that he sent on yesterday, or maybe it was Friday, and you guys can read it and see what you think, but was he present during the bond hearing? Is that what they do? Because he remembers
He would have sat in on it.
what was it supposed to be intended
No,
for.
well,
You're on the phone.
he was, I don't, I thought it was Maggie, I didn't, know that Jason sat in on the bond hearing too.
You know, we can ask Matt Wilbur if he'll have a discussion with him. It'd be easier if he did it, I guess.
I'll tell you what, I'll call Jeff Thulin, I'll talk to him and coordinate, we'll figure out how to get a hold of him, and Jason is his name, Trubisky?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'll forward that email.
That'd be
to you
good.
as well. So now it's contact.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as, I don't have any doubt that Jeff Danker said, I'm going to use it for this purpose. That's not the question. The question is, to what extent can a prior elected official bind future elected officials? And the answer is, they really can't. But Andy has to stay within the bounds of the language of the bond as is. So,
Well, if we can,
so if Andy's intent is different than Jeff's, but it still fits the language of the bond, then I'm saying it's all good to go. That's the question mark.
Okay, Scott, I'll make a motion to approve and sign resolution 30-2021.
funds transfer from rural service fund to secondary.
I'll second that.
$2,550,000.
Okay, Whitman, seconded by Shay. This is pretty straightforward. Anybody got any questions? Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman, Supervisor Groby, Supervisor Schultz,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
Scott, I'll make a motion to approve and sign resolution 31-2021. The fund transfer from local option tax, secondary road fund to the bond series fund. That's $2,000.
Get a second?
Second.
I did, oh.
Second, Schultz. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Yeah.
Supervisor Schultz,
Aye.
Supervisor Groby,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye. Scott, then I'll make a motion to sign resolution 32-2021. Fund transfer from local option tax, secondary road fund to the secondary roads fund. In the amount of $2,450,000.
Okay, we got a motion. Also move. Second by Groby. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Yeah.
Supervisor Schultz,
Aye.
Supervisor Groby,
Aye.
and Supervisor Wickman.
Okay. We got a discussion and decision to approve, disallow the following applications made to the assessor's office. I don't see anyone here.
The only question I would want clarification on, there are two of them that were not allowed. I'd just like to know why.
Yeah.
One of them probably is because it wasn't a business, and the other one
Yeah, I think she's.
probably had some kind of a military.
It comes with the sheet on there, I don't know if Andrew
had
goes
that.
with
It didn't come with me.
Here we go.
it. The business property tax credit was
Safe.
no longer owner of the
No,
parcels.
Parcels and reserves active duty training does not qualify.
Yep.
Reserve active duty.
Reserves active duty training does not qualify for military exemption.
That's not necessarily true.
Do you get a military exemption?
Yeah, but that's not true at all. It depends what type of version.
Okay, well,
They recommended not approving.
I'd ask if we just pull that off, because that's not true.
Okay,
So if they're Title 10 orders, Title 10 orders, Title 10 orders, doesn't matter what it's for, it's Title 10. And I can give you a status. There's what they call veteran of service, and then there's a veteran, combat veteran.
HS.
Both are equal, so I don't know what they're talking about.
So we want them to come in next week?
I would say, go with all of them except that one, and then we'll just pull that one off to review.
Okay,
I'll make that motion, that's what you need.
okay, so that's on a separate one. That's on the next one with discussions to approve disallowed homestead and, military credit application.
They've never been separated before, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
However, if they are now, we'll look at them differently.
They're
So-
two different
So
scenarios.
we're gonna approve
One
all
comes
of
from
them,
the
but,
assessor's office.
get confirmed on your military one, Justin.
Yeah, we need to see the DD 214 or the active duty report, see what
Okay.
that says.
So you motioned, taking, passing them all, except for the recommended one. Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then, discussion and decision to approve disallowed homestead and military tax credits.
That's what we just did.
Well, this is,
We
No, there's some that come that are applications that come in from the assessor's office.
applications.
The other ones are letters that we have to deny because they've changed their address or something like that,
Approved disallowed
and they have to be approved.
credit applications. These are applications.
What are they? What are they disallowed for?
They're not,
Because the mailing address has been changed.
oh,
So the assessor sends those to me and I have to send them a letter.
okay.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
That's it. That would make a difference.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
second by Schultz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
Are we off?
Did you, Brian, show Justin that